So I thought maybe I'd try something a little bit different for you guys. Some of my posts get a little long, and some of the pictures don't really give much context. So here's the corner of the house where the stove is located. It is basically mid-floor, I'd say, because we dip into the kitchen over here. And this is that wall that I had opened up to give myself some extra space. And then there's my little polar bear. And then the front of the house with the dogs kind of hanging out. So we're on the far side of the house. I'd say mid-floor, meaning it's like sort of not exactly centrally located, but about halfway through. I might be using an imprecise term. This is one of those prefab hearth pads that I bought when the one that I made was totally worthless. And I trimmed it with some of this wood here after much too long of not having it done. Some time ago, my mother gave me this rack. And so I kind of loaded up a little bit like this. So something I've been asked about a couple of times is the size of the wood splits. And so I'm taking my buddy, I'm going to mispronounce your handle, but Eki, sorry about that. So I got some of the bigger splits here. And then this is what I'm calling the smaller splits to about the size of a beer bottle at the width of it. I don't know if my measurement was all that great, but what I kind of find is these guys don't fit so awesome. I can get maybe 3 or 4 or 5, depending on the size. And then I would say I get my math is going to be off, but I don't know, call it like 1 or 2 more of these. So maybe 6 total, 7 perhaps, if I split them up fine enough. And so I loaded up this morning, and now we're at about 4 p.m. So if I take the catalyst off and open it up, I still got plenty of life in there. So I don't think that's too bad. And the house temp is probably pretty good if we brought her over here. '72, but it was just in the sun, so the sun's kind of setting away. Let's say maybe it's 70 or 69 in here or something like that. But yeah, and this is sort of a better feel for what that setup is in our house. I like the looks of it. I think the blue, or like sort of, it kind of comes across as like a gunmetal almost, kind of matches my cabinets and my whatever you call these things, the appliances, and sort of matches the walls and all that. And I think it looks really pretty in our house. Some of the things that people have mentioned is, oh, it's not that big. Yeah, I guess so. To my eye, the stove itself looks pretty big. The burn chamber's small, I'll say that. Dimensionally, I think the stove looks kind of large. I think it fits the room pretty nicely, and I think it goes with our motif, if you want to call it that. And then I typically have this pan, which has a 14-inch diameter. It's kind of heavy. Or I have a smaller one, like a 8-inch or so on there. And I don't necessarily cook on it, but I'll heat something up. I really like the other stoves that Woodstock makes. The problem that I encounter, though, is that they're just too big for my house. And then I like the, I think it's the Absolute Steel, the other hybrid, that has a side loader. And I guess I could manage that, but I don't know. I like this. I enjoy the window on it too. I think for some folks it'd be this window is probably a little too small, but yeah, my review shouldn't be taken as an endorsement for what someone else should do. It's just kind of the journey that that I've been on. And I think I would probably go out of my way to try to talk someone out of getting this one. And if they ultimately decided that this was the type of stove that they wanted, then, you know, more power to them for that. Because the last thing that I want to do is go on the record and be trying to convince someone to get a stove like this and then them not like it. You know, then I'm to blame for it. But if my experience with it and my success with it sounds like something you'd be interested in, you know, then by all means consider it. But unless that is where your head is at, I don't want people to think that I'm the one trying to champion it for different people's applications. It works for us because we got a small house. And it's kind of not necessarily too open, but we got, you know, good paths to you know, to around the house.